so tough, and I'm gonna take you to the world. But I gonna love you. Yeah, I'm gonna love you.
Yeah, cool. So welcome to Exclusive Vet, episode 4. I'm Cliff Bull and we're going to be catching some giraffe today.
Golden trinkets, mobile phone, expensive shoes, you can get your own. Just gonna love you. Yeah, I'm gonna love you, babe. Cross my heart and hope to die.
So today we are in the Waterpoort area, which is pretty much between Messina and Aldays, and we're going to be catching some giraffe. Just a couple of interesting things about giraffe. Obviously we all know that they have this super long neck. We also know that they only have 7 cervical vertebrae, same as in humans, and this is what sort of makes it pretty tricky about catching them. A giraffe has a really specialized sort of blood circulatory system. They are one of the mammals with the biggest heart, so a sort of average sized giraffe has about a 10-11 kilogram heart, and the reason being is that that heart has to pump blood up almost twice as fast as any other animal to get it up to the head, and this is where we see a bit of a complication coming with the capture of the giraffe itself. So when we dart the animal, it has a definite effect on the blood pressure of the animal, and the big thing about this giraffe's neck is that heart has to pump twice as fast to get the blood to the head. And then you also don't want pooling of blood. They've got these long legs, so there's a couple of adaptations that they have. So the first thing being is that the giraffe's blood vessels are fairly elastic, which that also just helps with the movement of the blood, and sort of the top third of their neck has like a one-way valve system. So when a giraffe goes to drink and puts his head down, that elastic blood vessels and the sort of one-way valve system sort of prevents there being major blood pressure on the brain and the head, otherwise his head would pretty much swell. So when we capture these guys, the first thing being is we dart them from the helicopter, and there's a few things that can happen. One, just with the drugs itself, they could lay down on their own, or what we do is the ground team would use a series of ropes where the guys would actually run in front of the giraffe, slow him down, and then cross over at the back, so we would actually effectively trip the giraffe itself. And because of this complex blood system that I've just discussed with you, what we need to do is we need to wake him up straight away. So the first thing that we would do is we'd wake him up intravenously straight into the blood, and blindfold him to prevent him from seeing, and then put some cotton wool into his ear so that he can't hear, and then we stand them up. The reason why we blindfold them and we put cotton wool in their ears and tape them is purely because if that animal could see where you were, it would be really difficult to direct him into the trailer itself. So by blindfolding him and eliminating the noise from the ground team and that, it just makes it a lot easier for the animal to basically walk him in the right direction. Logistically, they're just too heavy to move. So the thing being is we let him do all the work. So basically we stand him up, and then with a series of ropes, one which would be a rope that we have around the neck that goes between the legs, and that's our brake rope, so that we can control sort of how far he can move forward and back, and then we use another series of ropes at the back where we would actually pull him so we can get him to walk in the direction that we want, and then we'd physically walk him onto the recovery trailer, and then with a series of poles we can block them to where they are, and then once they're all on the trailer itself, we'll remove the blindfolds and the ear muffs, or
you're gonna come in there on the eastern boundary. It was driving for you in the western boundary, and then down to the corner there. But I'll see where you are now.
So we're drawing some blood here, just so that we're going to run a couple of tests on them, and so while they're down, it's just much easier to draw the blood while you They're a lot taller than what you think. A couple of interesting facts about giraffe. They're actually one of the mammals with the biggest eye. So what we do here is we just put a little bit of gel in because we're going to blindfold him now. And we want to make sure that that eye is just protected. So let's put a little bit of gel in there. Both sides. Just clear out the sand and that because we're going to blindfold him. He's 100% awake. We're just sitting on his neck so he's not able to stand. As you can see, he's completely calm, he's relaxed, he's not fighting or kicking with us. So that eye's nice and prepped now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to blindfold him. So this is the blindfold that we designed for them. Basically what we're going to do, it's got a series of straps and it's got some Velcro. And because we're going to walk this giraffe to the trailer, it's obviously too big to carry. So we're strapping this on because you don't want him to be able to see. So this is a youngster, he's probably about a year and a half old. Okay, so that's nice and blindfold, those eyes are protected. And then we use a horse halter that we're going to put on. And we're going to put a lead rein onto that so that we've got control of his neck. Alright, and then like I said, we're going to tag him. The reason we tag him is we need to be able to ID him back to the blood when we do the tests. So it makes a tiny little hole, same as you do cattle and sheep. So we've done it on the right hand side, we do the males on the right, females on the left, just as a standard, and then write his details onto the blood tube so we've got those two matched. Alright, and then what we're going to do, we've got a series of ropes, and this is where our great ground man JJ from Tabamanzi is the pro, probably one of the best in Africa in sorting this out. So we've got a rope that goes across the neck here, it's got a knot over there, so that's on his neck. We run it through the front legs and through the back legs, and it divides up into two, so it's our breaker rope, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to stand this guy up and we're going to walk into the trailer. So the reason we work is, it might almost appear rough, but as quick as we possibly can with the giraffe is because of this complex circulatory system. So as soon as he's down and recumbent on his side, we want to wake him up, put the blindfold on, and get the cotton wool into his ears and get him back into a sternal position as quick as possible so that whole blood pressure and circulatory system can sort itself out.
Good job.